Jake Peffer here. Welcome back to Jake's Cinema Room. Today I'm going to be looking at the latest movie directed by Eli Roth, Borderlands, which is also based on the very popular video game series. Unfortunately, I've never had the chance to play the Borderlands games, so I can't really make a comparison in terms of how well the movie relates to the games, but from what I've read and watched and other people's reviews and people talking about it, it doesn't seem like it's all that faithful to the video games, short of a few things here and there. So that's about all I can give you there. But yeah, wow, Borderlands. This is a movie that has been getting a lot of attention, mainly because of how bad it is. And unfortunately, I have to kind of agree with the majority here, because this movie is, it's hard to say what this even is, really. This just feels like something that had, they wanted to put a lot into it, and unfortunately it fell flat on its face. You know, hey, let's take a pretty popular video game property, let's turn it into a movie. We've seen it time and time again. Unfortunately, a lot of video games just don't translate very well to movies, or if they do, they have to be written a certain way. And this movie, unfortunately, just isn't that. You know, they got a pretty decent cast of people here. Eli Roth is more or less a competent director. You know, he's made some good movies in the past. Not all of them are very good, but his last movie that came out last year, Thanksgiving, I thought was solid. I thought was one of his best movies in a long time. And to see him go from something like that to Borderlands is kind of disappointing. But the central plot here, there's not much to it. You have Cate Blanchett. She plays a character who has to go out and try to find this daughter of a man that comes to her, played by Edgar Ramirez, and she ends up teaming up with a band of lovable characters in the likes of her, the young girl played by Ariana Greenblatt. You have Kevin Hart, who plays a character, Jamie Lee Curtis. Jack Black voices a little robot named Claptrap, and so on and so forth. And it's basically, the best way I would describe this movie is it's a wannabe Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of beats in this movie played just like that first Guardians movie, and it's, taking this ragtag group of characters and trying to make them all blend together, and oh, we don't like each other, but we got to team up to get the mission done kind of thing. And it all just falls flat because mostly these characters and these actors just don't play well off of each other. The chemistry here is absolutely terrible. There's so many scenes with these characters interacting, and it feels like they may not even be in the same room with that person. You know, the way certain movies get made nowadays, I would almost believe that, because there's just so many reactions and way people talk to each other. It just doesn't feel natural or anything like that. And yeah, I know this is a big sci-fi epic movie that's in space and all kinds of stuff, so what's natural in that regard isn't what's natural in real life. But at the end of the day, this just does not work in any way, shape, or form. And I don't know if I can fault Eli Roth that much. From what I've read, I've seen that there might have been some studio interference, so I don't know what of this movie is actually his fault. But unfortunately, the direction here is not very good. There's just a lot of missteps here and there, and there's just not really a lot here. This movie is very generic. It's very bland for it to be this big sci-fi action epic that they want it to be, and possibly have more and more of them, just like the games, because I know there's multiple games in this series. This is a movie series that's not going to get any sequels, and that's unfortunate, because clearly they wanted to start something here, and just based on how this movie is and how it did at the box office, yeah, that's definitely not going to happen. The cast here, unfortunately, just, like I said, even though they don't have any chemistry together, nobody here is really given that good of a performance either. This might be the worst performance I've ever seen Cate Blanchett give. And she doesn't normally do, big action movies like this, but just her character and the way she plays her, it's not very good. I don't know if that's her, the way the script's written, the way she was directed, but none of it is working. On the opposite side, this might be one of the somewhat better performances of Kevin Hart, just because he's not playing his usual character. He's actually playing somewhat of a more grounded character, which was nice to see. But at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily call his performance all that great either. It was just nice to see him play something than just being Kevin Hart for once. Ariana Greenblatt, she's kind of crazy as, you know, the little girl here. She's basically, I would consider her the Rocket Raccoon of this, you know, ragtag team. And I guess she's fine, she's crazy enough and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it just, you know, doesn't really feel like much. Jamie Lee Curtis feels wasted in this movie. She kind of comes in later on throughout the, you know, the mission and everything, and she just feels like an addition to a cast that doesn't really need her, more or less. And then, you know, I hate to say it, Jack Black as Claptrap might be the best part of this movie, question mark. He's very annoying, the character, and I think that's the point, is he's supposed to be extremely annoying. You know, it's a little robot that looks like Wall-E fucking going around and just, you know, annoying the shit out of people the entire movie. And I mean, you know, the couple of small chuckles I got out of this movie were probably from him, but at the end of the day, it's just, it's a character that's just like, yeah, I guess that's something, but there's nothing here to really hold your attention. It's just, it feels lazy, it's sloppily put together. You know, I did think at times some of the set design was halfway decent, but then, you know, looking at it more, it just felt very cheap and like something that they just kind of threw together on a whim. It didn't really feel like they put a whole lot of thought and effort into really anything in this movie. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, it is an actually decent cast of people. There's good people working on this movie, but ultimately what came together is not good. And it's something I definitely don't recommend. Like I said, I haven't played the games, but from what I've seen, this doesn't bode well as something to be, you know, based off the games. So I don't know if I could really recommend it in that regard either, but you might get some enjoyment out of it if you liked those games and just want to see, you know, certain characters or certain aspects of the game brought to the big screen. But overall, for me, I would give this movie a 2.5 out of 10. It just doesn't do much to really satisfy anything for anybody. You know, there might be a couple moments here or there. Some of the action is, you know, maybe okay in certain terms, but for the most part, this movie is just utterly forgettable, and I wouldn't recommend checking it out to anybody. That's about it for me, guys. If you have seen Borderlands, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I'll leave all my links down below on where you can check out more of my reviews. And until next time, I will catch you all later.